Hello everyone, this is Mustahar Mutwalli talking. Today, inshallah, we are going to explain lesson 2.4, which is operations with scientific notation. Operations with scientific notation. We studied how we can change the scientific notation or why we have to use scientific notation. You know that we used scientific notation to write a very large number in a shortcut method. But today we will talk about operations with scientific notations. So what is the operations? So operations, it could be addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Then again, operations, the four main operations, which is addition, subtraction, multiplications, and division. So, multiplying or dividing. We will start first with multiplying or dividing. Multiply or divide the standard numbers and then the powers of 10, which means we are going to rearrange the question to combine the numbers together and the numbers with powers of 10 together. If multiplying the powers of 10, we will add. If dividing the powers of 10, we will subtract. Make sure the decimal only has one digit in front. Then, just remember, we will start now with the main two operations, which is multiplying or dividing. Let me give you an example. 1.6 times 10 to the power of 6 times 2 times 10 to the power of 3. So we have two groups. In the first group, I have 1.6. In the second group, I have 2. And this is 10.6, and this is 10 power 6, 10 power 3. Then I'm going to rearrange that as I told you. Then we will pull or to use 1.6 times 2 together, multiply 10 power 6 times 10 to the power of 3. What do you notice? This one is 10 to the power of 6 and 10 to the power of 3. Then what we have to do with the exponents? We have to add the exponents. And we will multiply 1.6 times 2. Then the answer, it will be 1.6 times 2, 6 times 2, 12, 2, and carry 1, 2 times 1, 2, and 1, 3. So it will be 3.4. Second, 10 power 6 multiply 10 power 3. We have to add the exponent together. It's a positive exponent. Then it will be 10 to the power of 9. Let's move to the next question. In this question, you will find that 6 times 10 to the power of negative 5 divided by 6 times 10 to the power of 3. We will try to divide this group into two parts. See how? It will be like this. I'm going to to divide 6 over 8 in one side and 10 to the power of 5 divided by 10 to the power of 3. This one, we are going to simplify it. If you will divide it 6 divided by 2, it will be equal 3. 8 divided by 2, it will be 4, which means it's 3/4. It's easy to change it into decimal, so it will be 0.75. And the second part here is 10 to the power of negative 5. It's a division operation. It's a division, and we have same base, so we will subtract the exponents. So as I told you, the first part, 3 out of 4, it will be 0.75. And the second, I'm going to add, so it will be 10 to the power of negative 8. Now I want to simplify. 0.75 times 10 to the power of negative 8. Is this one written in a scientific notation? For sure not. So we will move to the right one digit, which means if you want to move to the right one digit, then as I said here, we have to make sure answer in a scientific notation. So Then to simplify this question, as I said, we will pull the decimal point to the right. If you are going to pull it to the right, then you will add -1 to the base 10 to the power of -8. Then 10 to the power of -8 multiply, sorry, it will be 10 to the power of -9. So this is for multiplication and division. We will move to the next part, which is adding or subtracting. We have two different methods. The first method, expand, write in a standard form, add or subtract, rewrite in scientific notation. Then the first method, we can expand the number and we will write it in a standard form, which means I'm going to remove 10 and we will add with zeros, or we'll change it into zeros. We will add or subtract, and then we are going to rewrite again in scientific notation. What is the second method? Rewrite the common power of 10, group them together, add or subtract, make sure that the answer is in scientific notation. Let me give you an example. So, as I said, we have two different methods. Okay? The example, I want to solve this question by two different methods. First, note that here you have plus. We have the same question, but I'm going to solve it with you with two different methods. The first method, it will be expand, as I said. We will expand to write it in a standard form. Then we will add, then we will rewrite to write it in a scientific notation. 4 times 10 to the power of 3. The answer, it will be what? It will be 4,000. 2 times 10 to the power of 3, it will be 2,000. We will add them together. Then it will be equal 6,000. Write this number in a scientific notation. I can't see any decimal point, so it's there, but it's invisible. Please count to the answer. It will be, you count how many digits? 3 digits, exactly. So the answer, it will be 6 times 10 to the power of 3. Let's move to the next, or to the method 2. Method 2, the first one you have 10 to the power of 3. The second one you have 10 to the power of 3. Then we will combine, you are going to take a factor common, 10 to the power of 3, because it's there in both two parentheses. Okay, in both two parentheses, you can see 10 to the power of 3, 10 to the power of 3. Then we will take 10 to the power of 3 out as a common. Then when you will remove 10 to the power of 3 from the first group, then the remainder is 4. The sign between the two parentheses is plus. When you cancel 10 to the power of 3 from the second group, it will be equal to. So the answer, it's 6 times 10 to the power of 3. And it's written already in scientific notation. So as I told you, we have two different methods to add or to make the operations with addition. This is another question. Let's move to the next part with subtraction. With subtraction, so you have 3.2 times 10 to the power of -4 minus 1.6 times 10 to the power of -2. It has the same idea like addition. So did you remember what is the first method? Yes, first method, we are going to expand the numbers and then we will subtract, and by the end we will rewrite again to write it in a scientific notation. Then you have 3.2 times 10 to the power of 4. We will move the decimal point 4 digits. I have only one, so I'm going to add 3 zeros. This one, I will move only one, so I'm looking for one more 0. Then we will subtract the two numbers together to find the answer. This one is not in simplest form. You are going to pull or to move the decimal point to the right, like this is 1, 2, then you have 1.568 times 10 to the power of negative 2. Then in case if you are going to move to this side, so it will be with negative exponents. So this is the second way or the second method. But in this case, you will note that you have 10 to the power of negative 4, and the second is 10 to the power of negative 2. They are not the same. Did you remember the previous example? We have 10 to the power of 3, 10 to the power of 3. But in this question, we have different exponents. For this reason, we will try to change this 10 to the power of negative 4 into 10 to the power of negative 2, which means I can divide this one into two parts, 10 to the power of negative 2 and 10 to the power of negative 2. If I will multiply 3.2 times 10 to the power of negative 2, so we have to move to the left 2 digits. Let me show you how we are going to change this one. As I told you, we will move this point 2 digits to the left. So we have to add one more zero. Now this one becomes 10 to the power of negative 2. I have 10 to the power of negative 2, 10 to the power of negative 2, which means we have the same exponent. So we can take it as a common, and then we will collect the remainder from the two both parentheses, and then we will subtract them together. 0.032 times 10 to the power of negative 2 minus 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 2. Which one is a common? Which one you can find it in the first parentheses and in the second parentheses? For sure, 10 to the power of negative 2. Now I'm going to take 0.32 minus 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 2. We will subtract, and then it will be negative 1.68 times 10 to the power of 2. And this is already written in a scientific notation. Okay, then again, you cannot, once you have same exponent with 10, we can take it as a common. If I can't find same exponent, so we will try to divide it. You know that 10 to the power of negative 2, 4, it means 10 to the power of negative 1, 10 to the power of negative 1. So I'm looking only for 10 to the power of negative 2. So I have to change to move the sign to the left side 2 digits. And this was our lesson 2.4 in chapter 2. See you next time, inshallah. This is part 1. Thank you.